Lights, camera, Thunderbolt. That's what Marvel's about to say with their new film, which will be the studio's first official venture into the world of anti-heroes. A lot like DC's Suicide Squad if you asked us. In fact, a lot of these characters actually match the squad's members, right down to Amanda Waller. So, we made a list for you too, so you can find out who's in Thunderbolts, and which SS character they match with. Starting with John Walker, who'd make a great Peacemaker. Remember Walker? He's probably one of the newest entries in the MCU, with his debut in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Essentially, the film is about Sam Wilson growing into his role as the new Captain America. But while that was the main premise, the film also starred John Walker, the man who could have been. He's literally what would have happened if Rogers had never been picked for the Super Soldier program. And that wouldn't be pretty. The guy's a rude, murdering variant of Captain America, but he has the one thing that qualifies him to be in the Thunderbolts: a tiny hint of good. That's right, his moral code may have gone off after taking over the Captain America title, but the US agent may just be a good guy underneath all that. And do you know who that reminds us of? Peacemaker, from DC's Suicide Squad. Both of these guys live and breathe their duties, and can do anything to complete their missions. They're also pretty homicidal, even though John's still a little more controlled about it. Now let's see if he can actually let the good in him take over if he joins Marvel's new squad, or if he'll become worse as time goes on. Next, we have Red Guardian, a great substitute for Captain Boomerang. Hey look, it's Hopper, Alexei, father of two MCU heroes and now an anti-hero himself. Shostakov was introduced as a Soviet Union celebrities-turned-prisoner-turned Red Guardian. If you think his performance in Black Widow was unforgettable, wait till you watch his matchup against John's Captain America. Now that's gotta be entertaining, especially considering his chaotic comic timing, which makes him a totally fitting counterpart of Captain Boomerang. Both of them are totally unpredictable and work pretty well as a comic relief for their teams. So what if Boomerang is a little more chaotic and violent than Alexei? We think their roles in each team may be super similar to each other. After that, Taskmaster, who's Ratcatcher 2's counterpart. We expected Black Widow's de facto villain to show up anywhere but in Thunderbolts. But hey, she did become a gray character at the end of her MCU debut, turning out to be Dreykov's daughter and a victim of his many, many schemes. So her appearance in this film makes sense if you think about it. And just like her, there's a DC counterpart who has an almost similar story. Yep, we're talking about Ratcatcher 2, whose entry in the Suicide Squad was as surprising as Taskmaster in the entire MCU. We mean, guys, they literally changed the character's identity in the film. So the retconned character's pretty similar to the DC member who became a breakout character once she got a chance to prove herself. You never know, Antonia may just get the same opportunity and become a fan favorite. We'll just have to wait to see how her character arc turns out. Moving on, there's Ghost, very similar to DC's Polka Dot Man. Another surprise entry, but an interesting one. Ghost is the original villain from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and we're glad, because we think Hannah John Kamen has great potential, only it didn't fully show up in her debut film. Her costume and crazy powers can do great with a different script, which Thunderbolts may provide, and while she's still a bit of a question mark in the team, her role may become another fan favorite if her powers are used right this time. And on that note, we have Polka Dot Man from DC, who could be a great match to MCU's Ghost. He too was one of a few superpowered people in a team of killers and soldiers, and has a very traumatic past just like Ghost. So there you go, another character very similar to an iconic DC one. Can you guess who's next? Hold your horses, we're moving on to Yelena, a Rick Flag counterpart. The original Black Widow was an Avenger, this one's a Thunderbolt. She's fierce, has amazing combat skills, and can take you down without considering the ethics involved. See, such a great fit for her new team. We bet Yelena will be the leader of her new squad, and man does she have her job cut out for her or what. From John Walker to Red Guardian and Taskmaster, who tried to kill her, she's going to have a tough time managing her teammates from not murdering her or each other at some point. And who does she remind us of? Rick Flag. Both of them are leadership material, with Rick a little more by the book type than Yelena, but you get our point. He's also sympathetic and has a lot of empathy for the misfits on his team, and we're sure the new Black Widow will too. Sure, Rick's job is a little more ruthless, but then again, DC's villains are pretty scary too. At least Yelena doesn't have to be worried about Cobra, General Zod, and the rest, but she's even got Bucky Barnes, who will probably be able to give her some tips on how to manage a difficult team. Speaking of, let's talk about the Winter Soldier, MCU's counter to Bloodsport. We don't need to tell you about Bucky, do we? The guy's a legend, from his entry in the MCU with Captain America to his crazy but wholesome friendship with Steve Rogers. We've loved him every time he came on the screen, and in the Thunderbolts, he's probably the most experienced one as well. We can almost imagine those misfits misfits circling him to hear about his stories from Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. Ha! Lucky people. Okay, enough gaga over Bucky. So now that we've introduced and raved about him enough, who's a great counterpart for him from the enemy lines? Bloodsport, that's who. Just like Barnes, he's also a misunderstood man who has a totally different persona under the mask. Of course, his character may be a little darker, but his similarities with the Winter Soldier aren't just a few. Both of them are different from what they seem, can act out over the fear of loss, and can also be super vulnerable if given the chance. Thunderbolt's own personal violent teddy bear. Coming up, we have Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, who could make a great Amanda Waller. Selfish, scary, and also the boss lady in the team, Fontaine made her first appearance in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Black Widow. She's already shown us how duplicitous she can be and has gone even further in the comics with her ties with S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra. And with her already recruiting John and Yelena to the group, we think her character here could really resemble that of Nick Fury. Sure, we may not know what she's up to yet, but we can bet it's not going to be all rainbows and roses. In fact, she may be after some selfish goal that she'll use the Thunderbolts for, and that may even make her a villain, or at least a darker gray character in the films. The fact is, no matter what role she plays, she'll definitely be the team's handler. Just like Amanda Waller, she's the controller of the Suicide Squad, and probably scarier than Valentina. Don't forget, she placed explosive chips in the squad's team just so they could do what she told them to. So yeah, not the best of role models. Valentina too, like Waller, is a strong, head-fast character who's playing a female leader in the world of men. She'll obviously be as resourceful and strong as Amanda too, but what'll happen to her once the team's formed and ready for their mission? We'll just have to wait and find out. Finally, who else will star in Thunderbolts? Well, wait for it guys, because this new film is going to bring you none other than Harrison Ford himself. Yep, the man's finally making his MCU debut, and we couldn't be more excited. Who's he playing? General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. In the comics, he's a very formidable character who becomes Red Hulk at some point too. And if you're thinking about when you'll get to see Ford in his MCU costume, be ready because he'll make his debut in Captain America: New World Order. Exciting, right? Oh, and plot twist, Thunderbolt also appeared at Iron Man's funeral at the end of Endgame. Sure, he wasn't being played by Ford at the time, but that's just semantics. Fans have commented that this appearance at the funeral may be a hook that connects him to the upcoming film. How? Because by attending the day and meeting Hulk, he realizes that everyone can have a chance at redemption. And that's why he creates this unmatched team, who may just become good people if they worked together for world peace. Or you know, he could be an evil man looking to fix his problems by using the Thunderbolt team members. But you never know, and we'll have to wait for the movie to actually find out. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of the new Thunderbolt cast? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.